Welcome to Tuesday Nights and Fading Suns. I'm JM, the Game Master here on the Ulysses International channel for the Fading Suns game. The Annals of Antioch. That's the game that we're playing. Welcome to part 5. This is the crew of Cassius's Blade and their local talent, Rothgar. When we last left off, the crew dealt with some judges of Dis that had shown up and attempted to, they said restrain them and take them in. Who knows what actually would have happened? Instead, they met a violent end on the end of Rothgar's and Brother Gabriel's blades. Meanwhile, Perpetua managed to flitter Jack their ship and bring it back to town. And when we left off, the group was trying to decide where to go. Do they follow the visions of Father Bell and head towards Antioch to the cache of Second Republic starships that seem to lie under the city, but is also the center of power for the Paladendrex and his judges? Or do they take the flitter back to their craft and see if they can't repair it and head up to the pirate ship that Father Bell also saw remains in orbit? But before we get into that, Fading Suns is a science fantasy role-playing game that is actually on Kickstarter right now. It has already funded. It has blown past a number of stretch goals. And just keeping with tradition, Mark, where are we at on the Fading Suns Kickstarter?
Just checked a few minutes ago, and it's at $121,227, which puts it over the threshold that unlocked some goodies like the Dramatis Personae, which is a 16-character book illustrated. It unlocked the deluxe tokens that we talked about last session. Next one up will be perk cards. There's some other status cards that are up. Soon to be perk cards, I'm thinking we'll probably break that. And the next big one is a cloth jump web poster size map that'll be pretty awesome. And if you want to check it out, you can Ulysses International. Today there was a Twitch stream with some developers. Bill was there with some other guys and talking about just different aspects of the game. People were able to call in questions. So I'm sure you can find that on Ulysses International and get some idea of what this new version of Fading Suns is.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. So check it out. It's got a lot of great books right now. I know that, are they up to 5 or 6 at this point?
I will go back and look and quick. There's cards. There's a Dramatis book, cards, an action book for the person running the game, some more cards. There's an aluminum D20, a slipcase for the books. These are all the stretch goals, the varnish upgrade to the books.
So they'll have those kind of like
the level. There's quite a few books and PDFs that will come out. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 books that I've seen.
Awesome. Well, again, go check it out. If you like the what you've seen of the crew of the Oh Boy or this group of Cassius's Blade, check it out. And we're going to just get right back into it. So when we last left off, you saw Harald sort of waving to you as the day was ending, as the people of Rothgar's village had decided to seek shelter in the Shrine of the Beautiful Flame, as to not be here in case more judges showed up. So there at the center of your village, Rothgar, several buildings softly smoking in the evening breeze. Most of the fires have been put out, both hearth fires and those caused by, errant Martech amber blasts, or possibly judges' internal weaponry blasts. But the 5 of you stand there as the sun is setting in the middle of this once thriving, now, for the time being, abandoned village. What do you do?
I take a dramatic pose, my foot up on the edge of the homestead, gazing at the twin suns of the desert, wondering. Oh wait, wrong story.
That's right. How to take the high ground.
I hate sand. Gets in
I
everything.
I was going to try to check out the flitter to see. Just is it one that I trained on? Does it have armaments? What can we do with it first? And then I guess we can see if it'll work on your ship. I don't. We didn't really poke around your ship much.
It is actually very similar to the one that you learned to fly that summer with Lady Delendra as a member of her entourage and on her flying her around Antioch out to her estates, that sort of thing. It was you were quite the piece on her arm, the barbarian from the northern tribes that she trained to pilot a flitter.
One magical summer.
That's right. You do get the feeling that like every time she introduced you, it was like, look, I trained him to fly a flitter. Much like one would say, you know, I trained a monkey to turn the crank on a squeeze box or ride a little bicycle. But you got paid well and you learned how to fly a flitter. This one is a little bit different layout. It may take you several hours to get used to, but very quickly you do discover that each one of the seats can do one of two things. It can either be you can set it up for pilot control, or you can set it up for gunner control. And there are four sort of independently, you can either slave them together or fire them independently, heavy lasers.
Excellent.
Mr. Burns?
Still probably won't do anything to the e-shields.
Well, Mark, just so you know, ship-mounted or flitter-mounted energy weapons they are set up for basically unlimited fire because they pull out of the ship's reactor, and they have +1 to the goal, and they do 9 damage.
Very cool. Note to group: if they come in firing at us, run.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'll explain what it can do, and I don't know if we want to try to salvage this with your ship to get it up off the surface. We can try to sneak in. I'm guessing we can try to sneak. We're gonna have to sneak in. You can't just walk through the gate and walk up to the cathedral, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Are you, Rothgar, familiar with the frequencies that it's monitoring?
I will look at the talk machine and see if I can interpret what it's quacking at me.
Give me a wits plus interface roll there, Rothgar. While Rothgar's up there playing in the flitter, what are the rest of you doing? Obviously, Perpetua's up there asking him questions.
Yeah, I got a lot of questions.
I will spend some of my saved precious vault, since I don't have anything in interface, but I do have wits. Bring it to a 12. 4, so I succeed.
How many are you going to spend to overcome the resistance on this?
These goes in pairs, right? 2, 4, 6, 8, kind of.
Yes.
I'll spend 4.
All right. You are unfamiliar with these specific frequencies, but you do recognize them as they are the ones that are used by the judges. They were and Paladendrix is the lady Delendra told you that these were encrypted signals. Yeah. So she, I mean, she.
But I'm in the flitter, so I should be able to display them, right? If I tune into that channel.
No, they are encrypted. This one is not even. It is transmitting bursts out. It's not receiving anything. They're just little packets of data. It seems to be being sent by the think machine on the flitter.
Think I should turn it off, guys? I'm sure they can track it if it's transmitting.
I guess.
Fly it around. I would say if you're going to fly somewhere, we should kill it.
If I go to one of the dead, not the one that blew up, but the other one that's died, can I use a tech redemption to remove pieces of him to unscramble the signal? His mechanical bits?
Do you have any sort of think machine capability or any capability that would aid you in this? And what were you saying, Perpetua?
I guess if the folks who live here think that they're secure, then we could turn it off. My concern was if it stopped transmitting, it was going to signal whoever is on the receiving end of that transmission that something was up and they would come looking.
Or self-detonate?
Right.
I think it would be pretty bad if they found our ship, the Cassius's blade. So if you're going to take a flitter over there to see if any parts are salvageable, we need to kill the tracker.
Yeah,
Sure.
I don't know enough just to kill the tracker.
If we're not going to move it, then maybe leaving the tracker on will buy us a little bit of time. They can't have imagined that here's something interesting. They sent that flitter, which can't actually carry all of us back. They carry all of us back. Presumably, they didn't know that we had a giant wolf with us. Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition, which is me and my wolf buddy right here. So in that case, if they're expecting them to subdue prisoners and bring them back, I mean, they may not have been expecting that to be a particularly quick job, especially if we run like normal people. It takes some time to track us down. So I think if you're going to leave it here, then leaving the tracker on probably buys us a little bit of time. But if we're going to move it anywhere, we don't want to draw attention to those places. In fact, we want to draw attention away from the shrine and away from the.
If we want to just take it into Antioch, I can fly it along with the raft and not leave it, even though we all can't fit in the flitter. We might as well have the floating gunship with us. If it's returning to Antioch,
we had talked about.
Go ahead.
We had talked about it would be an easier trip for the injured members of our party.
Yeah, I mean, we could put Darius in the flitter. That way it's a smooth ride and he's not bouncing around and rolling off the raft if it gets turned over by a giant prehistoric hippopotamus.
Not to mention your injuries.
I thought the surgery was successful.
The surgery removes mangled. That's all it does. It just removes the mangled trait. You're still down whatever vitality you are down.
Oh, we spent the revivals. Remember we leveled? So I spent the revival and got back up. So I'm not, as long as I'm not mangled, I'm okay.
Okay.
He's the one that's, either that or he just sleeps a lot. I don't know. Maybe he's just narcoleptic. I've heard nobles are lazy, but he's taken it to the extreme.
Father Bell Runner, what are you two doing?
Runner?
Oh, I can't fit inside the flitter.
Right.
So I'm probably sitting next to Darian then and waiting for you guys to decide what we're going to do. I mean, if I could get in, I could try to mess with it. Like I turned off the obelisk, but if I can't even see it, then so yeah, I'm probably sitting there with a stick poking at the dirt, just kind of keeping an eye out for the crows and the weird witch woman, and kind of just sitting and protecting Darian.
Okay.
Are you pretty good at stealthing if you need to?
Yes.
Perpetua, are you? Is that one of your explorer skill sets?
Not really, but I can be sneaky if need be.
Is the one judge who didn't explode, is his robe somewhat okay?
No, the two of you hacked it to bits.
I'm just thinking if someone could disguise himself as a judge somewhat at like the distance, maybe. Yeah, you, but you know.
Do you also need a
do the
wheelbarrow?
Wookiee trick, you know, you're manacled and being brought in.
All right, so Father Bell, what are you doing while all this is going on?
Well, after the result of my attempt to commune with the divine is inconclusive, leading me to believe that the saints have shown me all that they think I need to know. They don't know how dumb I am. I will try to acquaint myself with what the raft looks like, and think about the river journey, and of course begin to pray about that. I'm anticipating preparing a blessing for our journey, which will help us.
All right. So Runner, Dorian kind of, as you're sitting by him, you can see that he seems paler and clammier. He doesn't seem as clammy, but he definitely seems pale and a little more gaunt. He's starting to get some stubble since you guys have left the ship. Well, this is definitely not what you signed up for.
No, it's not. But I mean, I figure if we ever make it back to the known worlds, we'll get kind of famous off of this. So you know,
It's fair.
it's not the worst.
I signed up to fight the enemies of the Pan Creator, so far it's been a pretty good trip.
I have yet to find anyone who will bring me money if I bring them back.
So I was going to say 75 Firebirds that Perpetua is the first one to go native and run off, but I don't know. I think Brother Gabriel might be.
I was just thinking, what these people really need is a good organized resistance. Obviously, this would have to include something like a monastery and you converts.
125 on Gabriel breaking first.
I don't even think I want to take that.
Brigade of the Beautiful Flame. I've already worked out the color scheme. Here, look. I've already worked out the color scheme for their armor.
Do you have dress uniforms? And
I've always wanted flames on my shoulders, just like little flame just coming off either side. Could be really cool.
I think you've worked with Runner long enough that you recognize the eye roll for what it is.
Yes, but I always mistake it for approval or agreement.
Yeah.
And suddenly
that's
your
true, too.
relationship makes perfect sense to me. All right, Rothgar, do you have a capability that would allow you to sort of um, field strip a judge for parts?
I've got a point in tech redemption, so it's up to 4 now. And I do have a squawker, but it's, the handheld type, so I'm somewhat familiar with it. So I'm looking for something like that I can plug in. I'm trying to think, okay, they had to have a way. There's 2 dead channels. We figured out that those were probably the judges when they died. They went dead. Kind of their close comms talked to the flitter, and it boosted it back to headquarters in Antioch. So if I can plug them into it.
You can give it a shot without a relevant capability. You're going to be making it as an unfavorable roll.
I have life science.
If you want to use, if you want to just use your shipboard operation capability and try to disable it from the ship, that would be a normal roll for you.
Well, I think the consensus of the group is not to do that because that would probably alert them that there's something wrong. I just want to try to hear what they're saying. Like Unit 52 report, that kind of a thing.
Well, remember, it's not receiving anything. The flitter's not receiving anything. It's transmitting, basically, even when you look at it, it doesn't look like there's
Is there like a transponder? Like the ship that I trained in probably would have had a transponder so that traffic control would know, this is you, this is where you're at. So that's what that one is. But these other signals, I'm not too sure then what they do.
Right. And the other 2 are dead. Right. It's only
there's 2 that are dead.
Right. And so there's the one signal that is sending sort of transponder data back at a regular interval.
Okay, so that's the only one that's transponding.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so then I would think we don't need to if we disable that, they'll think the ship crashed. Then they might send some more judges to look for it. So I don't know if anybody has any kind of, I don't think we have the skill set to go, yes, we can take this engine and put it in because we'd have to go back to the known worlds and bring Jexa back and she could install the engines to fix it. None of us have got that skill set, I don't think even close.
Jexa and Gregor.
Yes.
It's the side comic I want to.
Downship. So I was playing, it's just a transponder to let them know where it's at, but I think if we turn it off, we're just going to get more visitors. If anything, we can turn it off when we leave the village so they can't follow us down the river to know where we're going, but that way we're gone. If we turn it off now, they're going to show up before we leave. Remember we wanted to leave in the morning?
That makes sense. So what will put Dorian, Rothgar, and
someone to watch Dorian?
One or 2 others. In my vision, he attacked Perpetua, so I'm not sure if it's better that she be there or
somebody. But you don't want to look up through the old canopy and see my arms flailing because he's got me in a chokehold.
No, that's true. But what say you? I mean, unfortunately, runner, you don't have a choice. You can't fit in the flitter. But who would you pick as your crew for the boat?
You muted.
Boat. I mean, I will be on the boat. I would like Perpetua to be on the boat because she's the one who's figuring out the map.
I'm pretty useless.
Yeah, if Rothgar's going to be on the ship, then I should be on the.
I mean, I can go with,
too. You'll know where you're at.
I can go with Rothgar.
All right, so I'm hearing Gabriel and Rothgar on the ship.
With
Darian.
Father Bell, do you want to be on the airship as well instead of on the raft?
Well, I would go where I could be most useful, but if it seems as though there's more potential for danger on the raft, and I can call for aid to help us pass through those dangers.
True. It's up to you, Father Bell, if you would like to be on the raft with Perpetua and I, or in the relative safety of the flitter. If, the trained monkey can fly it.
That's the question.
I have good faith. I have good faith in Roth. As I do in you.
Now, many Futurama episodes are going through my mind right now. Rothgar flying the
The
ship.
underlying statement that no one else caught was, "We're all monkeys to her."
That's right. It's true.
That's fair.
I'm not saying that Runner is not worried about food on this planet.
No, I'm worried about ammo.
Reasonable.
Just don't bite Darian.
That's right.
Yes.
Never.
I know better than to bite someone who's infected.
In case those of you who have not watched that episode, another Vorox bit a husk and became infected and was put down.
Hilarious. It was a comedy episode.
By the ship engineer. All right, so Father Bell, where are you traveling?
I will be on the raft.
All right.
Cool.
Do we want to attach it to the flitter to have some control, or do you want to just go?
I think, well, I'm no expert in this, but I mean, I think that we need the maneuverability to move ourselves, and you all can descend to lend assistance if we get into trouble. We don't know if there are tree canopies. I mean, if we attach it, then we could end up wrapping ourselves around branches or crashing, or Saints for Fens, pulling the flitter off of course or something like that. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah. We'll
Meet you
stay
in Antioch.
JM.
So who will be piloting our raft?
Well, that's what I was just going to ask. I have the transport capability with landcrafts.
Perfect.
With this, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Captain, my
I
captain.
would like to use my new power. Prophet's Holy Blessing.
Ooh, this is a good one.
Which will, I guess I will say that to help Runner be more successful on our first day's journey down the river, which is the goal to accomplish. And if I'm successful in casting it, then her rolls are favorable until she succeeds, in which case the rite is discharged. So I'm gonna give that a try.
If you have a weird point, you could throw a, favorable on that.
I know, and I don't have any more weird points. I weirded out last time.
Me too.
I got one if we want to use it.
However, I'm pretty good at this.
Famous last words, Father Bell. I mean, good luck.
Seriously.
Yes. No, you're.
Yeah, did
are
you consult your dice before you said that out loud?
I am going to put a couple of victory points in So my chance is 18 to cast this. I rolled a 3. The resistance
Nice job.
is easy.
All right, so 2.
2.
All right. So, Father Bill, as you don this blessing on
Yep.
Runner,
And I make the sign of the jump gate cross on Runner's forehead, as per the rite.
as per the right. All right. Rothgar, you've kind of brought the flitter down for the night. The stars come out overhead, and you can see sort of near the edge of somewhere beyond this planet. The rest of you see there is a beautiful golden nebula that kind of hangs out just over the horizon. Rothgar, you know that as Heaven's Walls. That is sort of that were raised when the gates of heaven were closed and you were left here on this planet where your ancestors were. You guys can see it sort of gives this glow to the night sky. Now that the mountain is not sort of between you and the far western horizon. Is there anything else you would do as you sit around the fire preparing for the trip? I'll leave this one up to you guys.
Do we have enough supplies in the raft? Those are all good. They completed
They did.
supplying it, so it's good. Yeah, food and
Yeah. Your
Maybe
village
some
knows how to
tents and
pack a
shelter.
raft.
that we do. Just look over the flitter to see if there's any little compartments that things would have been stashed in.
All right. Give me an observe plus perception roll, please.
Spend 4, get it to 15. Got an 11.
You got an 11. How much are you spending?
6.
All right. You eventually, you spend several hours kind of familiarizing yourself with the controls, switching them back over to the manual controls from whatever interface rights the judges were using. And you find that each of the pilot chairs has sort of a personal effects storage locker right by the left, like where their left leg would be. 3 of them are empty. However, one of those 3 is definitely filled with spiders. The last one, not like giant spiders, Richard, just,
Like deliberately full of spiders, or they're just spiders living there?
there are spiders living there.
I mean, it's 2 very different stories.
It's deliberately filled with hate-filled spiders. That judge
that's a
spent
different
weeks
story, that's what I'm
injecting hate into each little spider. Right? That's a completely different story. But in the last one, Rothgar, you find a iron chain that has a hanging from the end of it is that sort of coffin-like shape. Each link of the chain is more rounded than it is sort of kind of oblong. And that coffin is warm to the touch, like very warm to the touch. You also see sitting next to it is a small pistol-like weapon, like what you saw Runner or Dorian wielding. It does not look like one. It doesn't look like a laser or a blaster. In fact, it doesn't really have. The barrel is sort of snubbed, and it has no focusing crystal or path for a bullet to take or a laser to take. It actually ends in sort of a crystalline structure at the end of it.
I will present this to the smartest person I know, Father Bell. Yeah, I found this on the ship. I don't know energy weapons, so.
So, Father
It's
Bell,
not a slug gun, right?
you recognize this. This is a screamer. It is a sonic weapon, essentially. What you know of sonic weapons is that they ignore because they are sound, they do not trigger. What am I trying to say? Sonic ignores armor and shields.
And that is what I will relate to my companions, and I am obviously the least competent person to have this, and I'm sure there's someone who is much better suited. I see Runner making terrifying big eyes at me.
Runner does have an unoccupied arm, 4 times.
I do.
Oh, and this, and he holds up the chain with the coffin thing. That was in there too. This coffin's kind of warm.
That I would like to look.
Yeah, I would also
carefully.
like to look at that.
I'm not sure if I would want to touch it, but I do want to.
I'll set it on the ground if you want.
Let me.
I will recklessly grab it to examine it.
Of course you will. Thank you, brother. Let us look at this together.
Battle brother judge.
What do I roll to look at the little chain coffin thing?
What would you like to like?
This
How is
like,
Brother Gabriel inspecting this? Is he like?
Well, okay. So first of all, how large is it? Like on a scale of like 0.5 Djangos to like 1 Django.
I'm not sure I'm familiar with your reference.
It's all right. Don't worry about it. I'll educate you later. So how large is the coffin?
About if you were to make a fist, it would cover like the front of it. So you're looking at about 4 to 6, about 6 inches long and 4 inches wide. It's only about 2.5 inches deep, but it feels as if it is solid iron.
Neanderthal that I am, and that Brother Gabriel is for that matter. I'm gonna operate from the assumption that it's like a religious item, like a reliquary, something like that, from some point of some kind. So I just want to see if I can see if there's a way to open it. How long is the chain? Yeah. Can I pull out my dagger and just try to pop the lid of the coffin?
It is one solid piece of metal. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it seems to be when you shake it. If you, like as you move it, you do hear something, not like rolling around, but rattling back and forth.
And the judges weren't wearing these, right?
What was that?
The judges weren't wearing anything like this?
Not that you saw.
All right. Can I make a perception I'm trying to find a religion skill, but I'm not seeing anything.
You could use academia.
Sure. Mm-hmm. I got a natural 20.
You got a
I didn't
natural
take enough
20.
steps back.
All
Good
right.
knowing you.
You are definitely fiddling with this thing. I mean, definitely fiddling with this thing. And you, as you do so, you can feel their small little, almost imperceivable pressure plates. And as you kind of are looking at it, you trigger them, and the bottom of the coffin slides up, and a small slug of metal, some white, flaky metal, about an inch in diameter and about 2 inches long, hits your palm. And I need an endurance plus vigor roll from you.
All right.
Is it white because it's white hot?
It is not glowing.
But it is radioactive.
I made it with a 7.
All right, you made it with 7. How much would you like to spend to overcome the resistance of this check?
Well, I have 5, so I'll spend that. Oh wait, no, I got 7, so I'll spend 10.
Okay. It hits your skin, and you instinctually let go, and you can see like a char mark where it hits your skin. It wasn't hot, but it burned and blistered the skin on your hand. You don't take any damage from it. It doesn't. Your reflexes are fast enough, but you're pretty sure that's radioactive, like highly radioactive.
Hey, you guys. I'm pretty sure that this is highly radioactive.
Now,
Based
if
on
only
my
Rothgar
team.
had been bitten by those spiders that were in the same compartment.
Science skills. Oh man, this could have been a totally different.
Totally different campaign.
Dang it.
Um,
All right, I will put that back somewhere that looks sort of shielded.
Like in the
No.
coffin?
Like what?
Gabriel.
In the coffin?
No, the coffin is the radioactive thing, right?
No,
thing
you
fell out?
opened the coffin and it
Oh.
slid out.
That part must have cut out. Oh, that's really cool. So the radioactive thing is on the ground right now.
It is.
yes.
Yeah. What is it? Can I look at it?
It's this little
Alright.
slug of whitish metal.
Cool. All right.
Like how every other face that I'm looking at is like, and Richard's like, yes, I have a slug of radioactive material.
How big of a slug?
1 inch in diameter, 2 inches or 3 inches long.
Oh, that's pretty big. Is it any particular shape, or it just looks like kind of just a lump of metal?
It is a cylinder, like a little cylinder that fit right in the center of that coffin reliquary.
All right. I would like to go to the smithy, get a set of tongs,
Okay.
come back, pick up the slug of metal. I would like to make 2 bullets.
You want to try and make 2 bullets out of it.
I do. I really want to do that.
All right, so that's what Gabriel is going to be doing the rest of the evening. Runner, Perpetua, and Father Bell and Rothgar, when all of this is happening, what do you do?
Uh,
I'm
Like-
placing bets with Runner and Darian about who gets us all killed.
I'm definitely thinking, oh, I can lose as many bets from here on out because Gabriel's gonna die soon, so it's fine.
First of all, I would be scrambling back from what clearly did seem to be something radioactive, and then he confirmed that for us. And wanting to
Father
be
Bell,
very
would you come over here and hold the hammer?
On the other hand, I'm still fascinated by the construction and what kind of sect or worship has this kind of reliquary. And so I would be thinking back into my mind palace. Wait, what does this seem like?
I'm gonna hide in the ship and close the canopy and hope that it's radiation protected.
Get that lead blanket that they give you. No,
That's right.
probably not.
Luckily, Rothgar was apprenticing with a dentist, and so has that.
Right.
I dig through my survival pack for iodine.
Is there anything that I might be able to correlate between all these data points to something I might know?
Yeah, give me a wits plus academia roll there, Father Bell. Perpetual, what are you doing as you start to hear the tink, tink of a hammer ringing off an anvil? Every time it happens, you kind of flinch as you're expecting to see just this like small mushroom cloud rise from the smith.
That's I am trying to ignore the noises and make sure that I'm prepared for the journey.
Okay. What'd you get, Father Bell?
All I can think about is that's radioactive. Because I rolled a 19.
The concern of it being radioactive is high on your in your mind. All right, so we're gonna say things I did not expect to have to come up with. How to craft bullets out of a so the metal is soft, so it's less pounding, you're more carving this thing into a bullet.
Please, I've made bullets before.
I'm going to ask you for a dexterity plus craft roll.
Can I cast another rite to
Run
and
away?
make it so that he doesn't kill us all?
I don't know. Do you have a right that specifically says when dawn prevents death from other PC's actions?
Well, I have a right. Celestial alignments will allow me to, if he rolls a 20, to roll a second 20 to make sure that we're very dead. No, to possibly re-roll it. So.
All right, so I'm gonna surge.
That's what I'm going to try and do.
I'll let you do your right first.
All right. There's a reroll die there for you.
Cool.
Father Gabriel.
So I'm gonna surge. And that'll give me 16 victory points.
Okay.
And you said dexterity plus craft, so that's a 9. So I'm gonna spend 8
to make it a 17.
Yep.
Okay. Give us the roll, Brother Gabriel.
Well, I'm going to use that re-roll.
Oh, no!
The saints be praised.
Made it with a 15.
What'd you get?
Made it with a 15, Jam.
What'd you get?
15.
15? All right. How much are you wanting to spend on this?
Well, let's see. I've got 8 remaining plus 15, so that's 23 victory points.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll spend
12,
20.
I think 12 is the...
Oh, is it?
And then you can always spend victory points after you succeed to increase the quality of your success.
That's what I thought I was doing.
Right, so you overcome the resistance of the task.
Right.
And then you can spend additional points to increase sort of the quality
see.
of the task.
So, and I don't know the resistance of the task.
I'm going to let you know. Yeah, this is a Herculean task. This is going to be 12, as you are trying not to die, using essentially TL 2 or 3 tools to craft TL 5 or 6 bullets.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Do I need to speak in a Belgian accent as I do this, though?
You do not.
Okay. You just say it was a Herculean task. So, yeah.
Oh, I'm tracking.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'll spend 12, and that will leave me with 11 victory points left.
Great. Would you like to then increase the quality of your success?
Yes, I will.
It goes 2, 4, and 6. So that's
2.6. I'll spend 6.
all right. You manage to craft. You're gonna have to. I mean, obviously, you're gonna have to replace your own. You're gonna have to replace your own bullets from your ammo.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But you with spending 18 VP, as dawn arrives, you're not sure how much you've inhaled, by the way. But you have 3 bullets crafted from this thing.
Cool.
Meanwhile, the rest of you are rested. And all right. Dorian just kind of is crawling up into the flitter as you emerge from the.
I have a couple of like glowing flecks on my Smith's apron as I take it off and just hang it up.
Note to self:
Well,
this village
did that
will
one
be.
pretty well.
It's a good thing you evacuated the village before doing this.
Because now the smithy is a nuclear waste site.
That's right. This village will be livable again in 7,000 to 10,000 years. All right. So with the dawn,
if you don't leave the village as a nuclear waste site, were you really purging heresy?
Hrothgar, Gabriel, and Dorian enter the flitter. Perpetua and Bell on the boat or on the raft. Runner, you're able to easily just push the boat or push the raft into the river. And these 6 of you head south towards Antioch. Now, the land that kind of you quickly sort of travel out of the mountain highlands, which is where the Flame Eagle clan resides. Many other little rivers kind of flow into the one that you are traveling down, Perpetua, Runner, and Bell. And as it sort of descends out of the highlands, it hits this large sort of landfall, which, Hrothgar, as you remember, is called the Little Brother's Pool.
Mm-hmm.
You 3 can hear it long before you actually see it. And as you come around the bend, yes, Runner?
We were told to port around this.
Mm-hmm.
Portage around this. So once I hear / see it, I'm going to attempt to get to the bank.
All right, give me a strength plus pilot roll. As the current is now quite fierce, and you can see the rapids up ahead.
And remember,
But I've been using Destinator, right? So I've been tracking where we are.
You have been. When you get back to the known worlds, Perpetua, you are going to make so much money selling this map, downloading it and selling it to collectors, cartographers, the Order of St. Paulus, the first map of Antioch in millennia.
Just so you know, the perk I took was Chameleon as a scout. So I mastered the art of remaining unseen. I can not only myself, but my vehicle. So I'm flying lower to stay out and disable the transponder as we went down the river. So while I'm hidden, they don't get instinctual perception tests. and their observe and spot are unfavorable, just find me, just so you know if they're looking.
Okay.
Where'd the flitter go?
You were more concerned by the large rocks that seem to roar, or the water as they roar around these teeth-like rocks coming up ahead. Runner, what did you get on your roll?
Well, my first question is this one of my favorable roles?
What was the task that you prayed for Runner to complete?
To get us safely to our through our first day down the river.
Then yes, I would say that you do get that.
Okay. I searched, and I'm adding some VP to that, so it is a total of 15.
All right.
And it's a good thing I had that favorable because I rolled a 17 out of 15 and something else that will go unmentioned.
So you failed.
Oh,
I failed.
All right. Runner,
just didn't
you
fail
take
as
the
bad.
poles that you've been using to steer this thing, and you attempt to fight the current, and one of them is...
Wait. I apologize. But she said she rolled a 17 out of 15.
Yep.
I have a victory point, which I can reduce that by 2. It won't be a critical, but it won't be a failure.
Cool.
He doesn't shoot many things,
The
but
pancreator is good.
The Pancreator is good.
Father Bell is amazing on your guys' turn. It's fantastic. All right, you can
I
feel
prayed really
one of
hard.
the poles. No, that's fine, Father Bell. Like, Evan, you're playing your character wonderfully, so no worries.
Yeah.
One of the poles kind of starts to bend, and Father Bell is sort of there, and with just a light touch on your arm, you can kind of feel the way you should push it, push the raft, and you navigate it out of the current that it's in. And very quickly, the three of you have sort of beached up on the side of the river. And Gabriel and Dorian and Rothgar, you were kind of watching this from on high, or a little bit lower, as you were flying casual. But it takes you guys several hours to port the raft and the gear, even with the help from the flitter, down the path and get back on the river. And within several hours after that, you sort of pause for the night. Are you guys wanting to kind of push to Antioch as quickly as possible? You do see other towns and villages sort of set back from the main river at this point. They're on tributaries that sort of feed into this place. You can see them back several miles, the lights of villages, the high walls, wooden palisades. Some of them even have larger metal structures or, the Second Republic stone walls that they've sort of kind of built and huddled in, maybe shoring up with wooden palisades or scavenged material. But you can see here that you've kind of transitioned into very fertile lowlands. You see the signs of cultivation. You see the signs of neatly tended rows of grain that have just been tilled and are getting ready or have been planted. You can see several ferries set up along the river at various points.
And I know these places, right? I can point them out to Perpetua.
Oh yeah, they're
Name them.
they're larger trade towns, but yeah.
So I name them all. Well, that's who lives there. And
Can you also tell me about the stuff that they're growing?
yes,
Great.
Mostly in this area, it's barley and millet, but you know that the further you get south towards Antioch, the more rice paddies sort of start to dominate the plains around Antioch. You're not sure what happened there, but Antioch is surrounded by these floodplains, basically.
These are all Voldrock holdings, or because Kurgan are on the other side?
Kurgan are on
I
the
take
other
it.
side, so you're still in Voldrock territory.
Okay. And I think to remain our stealth, we shouldn't go into any of the villages unless we have to, in case word is spread.
All right,
Sound
so
good?
what's the plan? Are you pushing through, or are you...
I would suggest resting at night. The river can be treacherous at night. I mean, I can fly, but you're the ones on the river. How many days do we think it would be just traveling during the day?
If you travel just during the day, you'll probably get there in the afternoon on the third day after you leave.
Does Darian have enough time, Father?
I don't know. How does he look? Asking that.
He still looks sick.
Still looks sick. And how does his obviously I'm guesstimating from my vision, the passage of time, assuming, really should have had him get a shave in the village.
Based solely on his facial hair, you're guessing you have 4 to 5 days before...
Husk, he becomes husky. Okay. Well, time is of the essence, but it does us no good to drown in the river. It depends on, if we push through for another considerable period of time, are we on a safer section of river that we could reasonably, maybe pass without getting into trouble? I mean, it would be this would be something between Rothgar and Perpetua's knowledge to sort of. She talked to.
Between Perpetua and Rothgar, your guess is as long as one person is staying awake on the raft, you should be able to float through without unreasonable risk.
So the bad rapids, we're past those?
Yes.
Okay, and I'll explain that to him then. And just
All right. Well, then I do think we should continue, and I'm gonna surge, and I'm going to call on another blessing for whoever's staying up on the main watch. Is that Runner? Do you think is I don't know how your sleep cycle works in my planet side here.
Well, I do like to nap in the sun, but I think I will be okay staying up for a little bit into the night. I don't think I could do the entire night.
Okay. And for
I think we want to take shifts so that at least two people are. I think one person can rest at a time.
I agree.
All right.
Well, I will cast my blessing on Runner.
Okay.
And see how that works. No, that did work. All right. I rolled a 14. So.
All right. You spend the next day, like evening on, like all through the night tonight, evening on the second day on the river. during the second day, you start to hear more. I mean, not frequently, but you do hear sonic booms. You do hear the sounds of other flitters off in the distance. And by sunset on the second day, Antioch finally comes into view. It is a massive, even for those of you from the known worlds, we're talking like capital city sized golden city sitting on the edge of an ocean as the sun sets in the sea, kind of casting everything in this reddish and orange light. The walls of the city, you can see why Hrothgar's people called the Golden Nebula Heaven's Walls, because the walls that surround the city, and there's sort of three tiers of walls, are also golden. They are these metallic walls that kind of rise above the plains. You can see where there are several smaller villages and towns kind of in the outskirts of Antioch, some built right up against the walls, some further out, surrounded by these muddy, irrigated fields right off the rivers. There are flitters kind of moving back and forth over the city, traveling between towering spires. And as you start to get close, you can see that there is a large river gate that is currently open. You can see there are... yours is not the only boat on the river, although yours is the only raft. The river is very wide at this point. And you can see there are paddle boats, boats that are being paddled along, some that are being steered, even one that seems to be moving under its own power. And most are flowing into the city. It is sunset. You can see that either side of the river gate there are two identical statues of what, to those of you who are from the known worlds, sort of seem like bishop's robes. They're identical. The hands that are kind of held to their chest are, though, it looks as if the statues are made of the same gold as the walls of the city, but hanging from their hands, you can see where something else was cut off, and there are now iron chains that end in these massive iron coffins that kind of loom above the river as you start to get close. Those of you in the flitter, there are other flitters. Hrothgar, you know of at least one public place where ships like this would, maybe not like this, but flitters would land. You also know that in the second tier of the city, in the nobles tier, you know where Lady Delendra's private landing pad is.
Do I think she would be helpful, or she would report me to the judges?
Hrothgar, give me just give me a presence plus impress roll. Let's see how you left the lady's service. You have a total of 6. All right, so this will either be wildly successful or spectacularly awful.
JM,
Yes.
the river entrance, are there any guards or does it look like anyone is looking and taking note of the boats coming in?
Not from what you can see from the gate, but you do see 2 large, broad plazas on either side of the river, right inside the gate, and several, many docks that kind of extend into the river. And there are people walking around with golden halberds and very tall helms, tall crested helms.
Okay, and second question, sorry, before Mark tells you his role, what kind of looks am I getting out here?
It's a good question. People who have passed the boat, who have noticed you, several have moved. All of them have moved their boats further away from you. You have been met with whispers. You have been met with not an insignificant number of screams and points. They've been very rude. You are the thumb that is sticking out quite sorely on the river.
Okay.
I'm going to surge and spend VP to get my roll to be a 16. Eight.
All right, Mark. How much do you want to spend on how well you
8.
left? You're gonna spend all 8. All right.
Easy math.
Her favorite monkey.
I still have the fez.
Evan, you can have a weird point. You left in glowing service. She actually offered you a place in her guard, but you why did you end up turning it down and heading back to your village?
Because he's a rolling stone.
Because I still had to go through my initiation.
Ah, yes. You were not a city Rothgar. You were definitely a Rothgar of the mountains. No, so I mean, this was only not quite a year ago that you went back to your village to undertake the rites of initiation. So
Does anyone else have a squawker that we can talk to each other?
Perpetua, Runner, like everybody from their side have squawkers, and you've been communicating through the ship's comms.
Well, I have a squawker of my own.
Yeah, then you guys have all been able to.
Okay. So, Runner, can you... I mean, flying above them, we see the ships, the other watercraft moving away.
Yeah. What do you want me to do about that?
Could you possibly swallow your pride for a bit?
I am sitting on a raft in the middle of this river. I don't know what you want me to do.
Maybe if Father Bell was your owner, they would let you in the city.
Dorian comes over. Look around you. Can you construct some sort of rudimentary lathe?
Dorian? No.
Then I'm out of ideas, and he just kind of leans back in his seat.
Is there a tarp on the raft?
Oh yeah, you could just
There are
throw it
cloaks.
over.
They gave you plenty of survival gear for your trip down. So
Like throw a tent over her, so they can't see her going through the gate.
Fine.
And maybe at nightfall we can get you off the boat.
Fine. I will hide.
And I will tell Father Bell the name of another town not responsible for killing judges. If they ask where you're coming from, that would be along the river.
the last major city you passed was Renar. So
There you go, Renar.
Becca, you get a weird point.
And well, we'll definitely put on the local cloaks that they gave us to cover our strange clothes.
Yes, I will put on a cloak, especially there's like some orange. I don't know. I got bored on the ship. Don't worry about it. But I'm just gonna.
Father Gabriel, you need to slouch some. You're too tall
All
in the
right,
window.
so Rothgar,
Brother.
where are you? So you three are in the flitter.
The
Where are
brother.
you guys taking
I'm
the
the
flitter
father.
to?
I suggest I can land up on the Noble area and try to contact Lady Delendra and see what she would help us. We need somewhere to hide.
Yeah, because if we're caught here at night, they'll try to put us to death.
Yes.
And if they catch us, they'll try and put us to death.
Right. So Rothgar, you know that as long as you are in a so if you are when you were with Lady Delendra, you were able to stay in her estate and have it and be safe, but you were not allowed to leave her property at night.
Yes.
Otherwise, you were subject to the city rules.
I will try to hail her house as we fly over that way.
All right. So you're flying to Lady Delendra's. You three are finding a dock to pull up to. You can see the people with the guard. The halberds also have billing hooks on the back, and so they're kind of grabbing boats and helping them pull up to the side. Welcome to Antioch. You have two options. You can stay on your raft for the night. You can buy passage to one of the local establishments, or you can go back outside the city and re-enter with the dawn.
We've already spent at least one night on the raft.
Yeah. I don't think we have the silver from that the
Cough,
the
cough,
Brutiers had. What?
cough. Someone has silver.
I know.
Listen, we have a lot of boats
How
before the
much
gates
is it?
close. What's the answer?
How much silver?
How much would it cost to barter passage?
To one of the establishments for the night? Oh,
Yes.
I don't know. How much are you looking to spend? Do you care about nether fleas?
Do we care about nether fleas? Yeah.
Those sound terrible.
The Warrocks, they sound horrifying.
Please, no.
Well, you can stay. If you have the silver to spend, the Crozius is the nicest of the port side places, but you better hurry. Judges start coming through as soon, and he kind of points through, and you see that the river kind of passes through the center of Antioch, and you can see there's only about maybe a sixth of the sun, like the globe, still over the edge of the horizon. It's almost nautical twilight.
So they can stay on the boat,
They can leave the city, or they can
Leave the
get to
city.
one of these places.
one of these places, which is only for two of you because one of you has to stand in the dark because if you come
Yeah,
out.
I mean, I don't know how we would get Runner off the raft. So my inclination is to stay here, but
Okay.
Just tell me what dock you're at so we know where to get you in the morning.
Yeah.
Maybe. Or Lady Delendra's people can get you. I don't know.
All right. So you guys, as soon as you make your decision, the guard kind of hooks your raft, helps you get it tied off. Listen, do not step foot off that raft, no matter what you see. Do you understand?
We do.
I understand.
Welcome to Antioch.
I
And he
don't
turns
understand.
around and goes to the next raft. You've been put on hold, Rothgar, for about 3 minutes. And then finally, yes? Who is this?
Lady Delendra, it is I, Rothgar.
Rothgar. Wait. Rothgar with the scar or Rothgar with the supple skin?
Oh.
Do I have a scar
I don't know, do you?
from then?
Which Rothgar
You
are
do
you,
now.
Rothgar?
Rothgar with a scar.
Oh. What are you doing back in Antioch? Dear, you better get... Have you found a place to stay for the night? Oh, you're calling me on a squawker. Are you on a flitter? I did teach you how to do that, didn't I? If you're flying, just come quickly to the old port. You know where it's at. But you need to
Okay,
hurry.
yeah. I hurry.
You notice that as the sun starts to set, the smoothness of the buildings and the walls start to grow rougher, and you know that the gargoyles are coming out, and the gargoyles are the ones that unauthorized ships get. You don't know. You've never actually seen it happen.
Yeah, quick land.
All right, her private landing pad is about 25 stories up on the side of one of these towers that faces the sea. And as you kind of land there, you hear from Father Bell and Perpetua and Runner that they're going to be spending the night on the raft. And when you when you land there, you can see there is another one of the Voldrak. You recognize him. Maljek was the one who sort of taught you, when you came to the city and you, did kind of what the Voldrak do in the city. Hire on for mercenary work, lose a bunch of your money in taverns, maybe sign on with one of the nobles, get a bit of training. And that's, Maljek is kind of Delendra's captain of the guard. And the lights in the tower and the spire are starting to come on as you land. And as the door, as you kind of open up the flitter, Brother Gabriel and Dorian and Rothgar, you can see Maljek is dressed, at first glance, sort of like Rothgar is. But the more you look at it, the more you realize two things. One, his stuff has been fabricated like what you would expect to see of more known world level materials, Brother Gabriel. The other thing is he seems to be, we'll call it in costume. He's not so much dressed like Rothgar is, who's, your clothing and your gear sort of reflect the Flame Eagle clan and the highlands of the mountains. It's useful. It's designed for the weather you are in. This definitely seems to have been designed by someone who had a very specific idea of what the Flame Eagle and Voldrak clan members wear while out in the mountains and wanted to sort of play that up. And so he kind of is standing there. Rothgar, where did you get the flitter? Who?
Long story.
Who is that? What is that?
Is Father Brother Gabriel, and this is Lord Darian.
Are you a Jotun?
No, it's
Who, me?
Yeah,
I'm
you
just
stand
very
taller
large
than basically everyone.
he's this big boned.
Oh, I
Very
had a
large
cousin
bone.
who was like that.
I was actually breastfed until I was uncomfortably old.
It's just All right. At this point, the lady Delendra kind of comes wafting out in. She's got a fur overcoat on. You remember her, maybe through the eyes of last summer, but she still is very high cheekboned. You can see like the long, almost white blonde locks that kind of are bound up into like sort of a tiered braid that heads down the back of her neck. And Hrothgar the Scarred. Are you? You went back to become a man, did you?
I did. And he bows as he was taught.
Yep.
By
Maljek. Well, you remember Maljek. He punches you in the face in sort of that congratulations sort of way. He was aiming for your shoulder, but kind of caught you on the side of the jaw. You feel your teeth shake and rattle. And who are these? Are you a knight?
This is Lord Darian and his protector, Father Brother Gabriel.
A brother? I have read stories about your kind. You are a knight. I thought you were vanished from the surface of the planet.
Well, I have always thought of myself as a sort of revivalist.
Well, come in, Hrothgar. Brother Gabriel, you are welcome. Lord Dorian, a pleasure. Any friends of Hrothgar's are possible acquaintances of mine. I have put on your favorite. We have hot coffee and tea, and I have prepared a banquet. It's just a small one. I just invited the guests that I had on hand. But Hrothgar the Scarred coming back. And she turns around and walks back in. And Maljek is like, not much has changed since you left, Hrothgar. It's good to have you back.
I can see that.
Are you back for good?
It's to be seen.
So you were you were what, like her pet or something?
That is my guess as well, Gabriel. Hrothgar, what is your relationship with this noble woman? Dorian seems to have perked up. There's a little bit of color back in his face.
And like, where is the scar? I mean, I feel like that would tell us a lot.
As you guys walk in, the three of you, like clockwork, as the sun slowly sets into the western sea, you start to see the judges emerge. You don't see where they come from. It's not as if they sort of walk out of a certain spot or all originate from the same location. But as you're kind of looking around, you can see the crowds on the docks start to thin quite a bit. And eventually it is guards, a couple of people who are frantically trying to get the last of their gear unloaded. And then judges. You look down one alley, it's empty. The next time you glance over, a judge has emerged from it. And they just sort of stand and loom and wait for the sun to go down. You also notice how the air, the temperature in the air is dropping. There's mist sort of starting to rise off the river. It is starting to get much colder than you would have expected here even in the spring months. You can see a bit of frost starting to grow along the inner sides of the gate, and there's this large grinding noise as the river gates start to close, and there's the roar as the river, the current kind of pounds up against the doors. And of all of the judges kind of at once turn their heads and look towards the river gate. About 3 heartbeats later, they clang closed. And you can see the group that was trying to get their stuff loaded. Two of the people just shake their heads and jump back onto the raft. And as the door closed, the other 2 look towards the judges, and the judges just raise their hands. And there's just ash. And they start to patrol up and down the riverfront, and several others kind of disperse into the cities, and every so often you see a bright red glow that is familiar, and a scream that is cut off, and you spend the night on the river in the cold, surrounded by these things.
Okay, but were those people who got ashed practicing safe social distancing?
You'll never know, because you three are surrounded by the lap of luxury. It is warm, it is brightly lit, there is food, there is drink. But before we go there, Father Bell, Perpetua, and Runner, do you stay on the boat? What do you do during the night?
Do you hold out your hand and almost touch the street? Just, oh, 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 oh.
We now know which brother Mark was growing up. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you.
Runner from her hiding place would like to see if there are any patterns to the judges patrolling, or if it seems random. Trying to gauge if she could, especially knowing how fast she moves, could she get through it? Like, is there a pattern enough that I could get through it? Or is it random and therefore...
I thought you were going to ask, do the judges float?
Give me a wits plus observe roll there, Runner. Perpetua, Father Bell, what are you doing?
Well, Father Bell is praying for guidance. He's horrified by the casual and unjustified violence and murder he's just witnessed. He knows how the judges are created from innocence and turned into these monsters, that their spirits are essentially free from sin, from having viewed it, but they've just been made these tools of evil, and so his meditation is what can be done to free the Paladindrax's enslaved army.
All right. Give me a faith.
I can cast Divine Revelation to.
If you would like to do Divine Revelation, that is fine with me.
Phone my friend upstairs, the Celestial Switchboard.
Operator.
What they have to say. They're getting a little tired of hearing from you, though, I think. But they're answering my call this time because I rolled a 12. And the resistance is easy, so I spend 2. I have, if I spend 10 victory points, I get profound leaps of logic to respond to my
profound leaps of logic.
Yes.
All right, so you're looking for a way to free the judges. All right, let me come back to that, Father Bell. Let me ponder for
Absolutely. Yeah.
Perpetua?
I'm an explorer, and I feel like I am naturally curious. But I want to know what other people, like what other craft are on the water with us, and do there appear to be other people staying the night on their craft?
All right. As you look around, you can definitely see that there are many boats docked here. But there's only about 4 other people, at least in the area that you can see, that are staying on their boats. 2 of them have larger boats that actually have, roofs on them and places where people could sleep sheltered kind of in the area. The other two, there is a pair of, I mean, you would guess them to be young teens who are kind of huddled together in a boat with blankets. Like they each have a blanket that they have they're sharing with each other. And the other one is a group of traders who are on a raft similar to yours, but they're they don't seem to be sort of the same clans or tribes that Rothgar is from. They don't seem like that they're the Voldroks.
Kurgan?
And Runner, what did you get?
I got a 17 out of 18. I had bumped it up with some VP I had.
Good lord.
And then I took 3 of those and turned them into a weird point.
All right.
With my ingenious perk.
Lily, did you hear I gave you a weird point, by the way?
Last week.
No, I gave you one for singing operator.
Oh. No, I missed that.
Becca, so you got a weird point, and then how much are you spending?
In order to get detailed information, well, I have quite a bit left over. Kind of want to make sure I know their patrol as well as I can with a 10.
Okay.
I got that many right now.
So you watch for like 2 hours while Father Bell is praying, and Perpetua is kind of checking out everyone else around him. And
I will say it's warm underneath the tarp where I am.
That's right. You do have a little furry heater under
Just
the
saying.
tarp.
You guys don't go cold tonight.
You very quickly realize there are basically only 4 judges on the docks at any given time. Usually there's one on each side, but there is a point every 66 minutes where 2 more are on. They stay around for a time, and you guess they rotate out. It's kind of hard to discern when that is. Every 33 minutes, the 2 judges sort of cross the river and switch sides. But you're pretty certain that you could get to an alley if you needed to.
Okay, without being seen.
Without being seen.
Okay. Cool. I mean, I'll talk to Perpetua about it as long as we're awake and talking quietly to not disrupt Father Bell. But
all right. Up at the party, and that's when I severed him from nostril to navel. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, Gabriel. More ale. And there is it's not a large party, but there's about 12.5 people. It's the 4 of you, or the 3 of you, Maljek, 2 other guards, and then the lady, Delendra, her staff, and 4 other nobles as well. And the nobles of Antioch, this is the first time you've seen the jump gate cross, anywhere, but it doesn't seem, they seem to be kind of worked into pieces of, jewelry, embroidered into dresses or tunics, sitting on old swords at the pommel or on the hilt, or on the crosspiece. It seems as if the jump gate cross is remembered, at least among the nobility, but it doesn't seem to hold any special significance. It's sort of more of a
Just an
symbol that is
ornamental thing.
used to almost as a sign of nobility here. So, you're friends with Rothgar. And he brought you
Yeah.
here.
We go way back, me and Rothgar.
I will set you guys up with some rooms for the night, as I said. Rothgar, it is a pleasure to see you. Now, we do need to talk. Are you joining my guard? Has Maljak convinced you that the coin and the perks are worth staying? Your friend here, as a knight of old, I'm sure we could find space for him.
I mean, that does sound pretty exciting. Rothgar has promised to show me the city, though.
Oh, well, you'll have to wait till dawn. I'm sure he explained to you the judge's rules. They are quite strict about this. Almost to punctuate her statement, you definitely see twin streaks of ruby light kind of flash out from the tower and strike something that ignites and falls towards the city.
Is that the judge's rules about only opening the eggs on the big end? Or
What are eggs?
Fair enough. We're just a bunch of things Rothgar mentioned. I wasn't sure which judge's rule you might be talking about.
Well, the rule to not step on the streets after night. I don't know why. But even the nobility were required to stay. I mean, our estates are much larger than the hovels and the streets. But you don't seem to be Voldrax, but you don't seem to be... I can't quite place you. But either way, those on the lower end of the city, obviously... And at this point, several servants come out with large water pipes and set them on the table.
So, tell me, when you're not forbidden to go on the streets, what's good to see in the town?
Oh, well, there are several fine agoras. I'm sure Rothgar can remember. Rothgar, that man can carry packages.
Pick
I
'em
would
up,
go
set
into
'em
the
down.
city and spend all day in the agoras, and it didn't matter what I bought. I could just sling it across his back, and he would carry it back here for me. Do you remember that, Rothgar? Dorian, at this point, is no longer amused and is getting starting to get a little green in the face again.
Yes.
But besides the agoras, I don't know. If you want to see, how do you feel about the Paladendrax?
I mean, doesn't matter.
You see, like, one of the nobles kind of sits up, one of them laughs, and the lady is like, Yes, I will say that, well, what comes out of the Palace Cathedral is sometimes restricting. The Palace Cathedral itself is quite spectacular. If you have not seen it, it's worth seeing at least once. Some say people go blind seeing it from its beauty.
Oh, well, that definitely sounds like a thing, but of course, I haven't gone blind seeing you, so I can't imagine the cathedral will be much of a problem.
Are you okay, Lord Dorian? I do apologize. Lady, is there a place where I could rest? Our journey was quite taxing on me. And in fact, Gabriel Rothgar, can you...
Oh, yes, of course.
Yes.
No, please stay. I just please let the lady know that we have goods and other people waiting for us on the river. Oh! Henri. And this guy walks up. This is my major domo. He will take you to your rooms. Please feel better. Don't feel bad. We'll throw another party tomorrow night. We'll I will talk with your people about your people, and my people will go see your people, and we will bring all the people back together for another meal. And Henri kind of helps Dorian to his feet. Always ward your words, Brother Gabriel. Hrothgar, I thank you for introducing me to this delightful woman.
I will accompany him back to his room.
Okay. Hrothgar, are you staying for the party, or are you accompanying Dorian back?
I will accompany. I excuse myself and go accompany Dorian.
Hrothgar, will you and your friends be staying long?
As long as our gracious host allows.
We should talk later tonight about that thing. That one we were talking about before you leave? Bring your friends. Or at least the night. We should, if you think they are amicable. Run along. We'll talk later.
What thing was he referring to?
Check your chat.
Timmy.
All right. So you guys get Dorian back. It takes some time to get him. All right, Richard gets a weird point as well, even though that was shared only with me. So you guys get Dorian back. He has kept it together for most of the evening, but you can see that the trip and even just kind of rallying for a party, which seems like something Dorian would normally love to do, has drained the Hawkwood. And by the time you get him sort of settled, it is late in the evening. Unless there's something specific you would want to do this evening, I'm going to jump ahead till the morning when...
Well, would Remedy help him get through the night?
Yes, give me a Remedy plus Wits roll.
Okay. I'll spend 5, 6, 7. They both succeed. I'll take the 3 because it's better.
Okay.
He gets his recovery +1.
All right, your tending to Dorian definitely kind of brings his fever down and soothes the noble as he's able to kind of pass into the arms of a very deep sleep.
As he falls asleep, I'll explain to Brother Gabriel, Lady Delendra is opposed to the Palandendrex. I think she believes that the nobles should run Antioch and not him.
I see.
He could be an ally. And she would know other nobles that I think would think the same.
So the thing she was talking about.
Yes.
All right. Perhaps while you go to rendezvous with our friends, I can meet with some of the nobility here.
Well, she wanted to talk later. Was that tonight she wanted to talk?
No, tomorrow would be fine.
Okay. I was going to suggest at least one of us keep an eye on Darian. Wouldn't good if House Delendra turned into husks.
All right.
Of course,
So-
we could be cruel and just turn them and then unleash them on this city.
So in the morning, Maljek arrives with you, Hrothgar. We should go down to the docks and retrieve your man's people.
Yes. Brother Gabriel, you stay with Lord Darien?
Yes. Yes, I'll stay here and keep an eye on him.
Okay. Then I will go with Maljek.
All right.
What you
Perpetua,
guys-
Bell, and Runner. We are. You guys kind of. Are you doing anything else the night, Father Bell? I have an answer for you.
Okay.
As you sort of spend the evening in prayer and in meditation, you really sort of the image of Zebulun's jump gate cross keeps coming to mind, sort of over and over again, as it hangs from your rosary and you kind of focus on it. You know that yours is kind of the standard jump gate cross given to members of your order. It is not a simple thing, nor is it a gaudy thing, but it is precious to you. And sort of as you kind of sit here and think and reflect and meditate, it's obvious to you that the one of the ways is to stop whatever this procedure and this process and this heretical tech that is being used to create the judges, which you know was taking place in that similar area that the Second Republic kind of chamber that you both saw in your vision. But you know that the main way to deal with heresy is to shine the light on it, to expose it to the light of the Pan Creator. And you're not sure how yet, but you don't feel like that's necessarily a metaphorical statement the more that you ponder it, and it keeps kind of rising up out of the depths of your soul to your mind to expose what is going on to the light. You know that this chamber, wherever this is, lies deep beneath the city. You're not quite sure how yet, but somehow this idea of the light in your jump gate cross and even the shrine of Saint Beatrice all sort of converge in your mind, and you can almost for a brief second see the light of the sun being forming between the 4 points of the jump gate cross in your hand. Perpetua, as like false dawn breaks, the judges seem more agitated, as do those two young teenagers on the boat, and their boat starts rocking. You can see they're waking up, they're getting agitated, they're sort of talking back and forth. They don't seem to be in the middle of an argument, but they do seem to be discussing something rather heatedly.
How close is that raft?
Runner, you could easily leap it. Perpetua, you could probably leap to it if you got a good running start.
How am I going to get a good running start on a raft?
Well, remember, this is a large raft. This was originally designed to hold all of the goods that were coming down to Antioch, as well as Brother Gabriel and Runner and 4 other human beings.
On a scale of Davy Crockett and the River Pirates, is it like 0.5 Davy Crockett and the River Pirates, or like 1.5?
I would say like 2.5 Davy Crockett
Oh
and the
wow,
River Pirates.
it's a pretty good size raft.
Yeah, it's a good size raft.
It's like a barge.
Yeah, one could call it barge-like.
Okay. So you could just barge into town, Runner.
I could. I don't know if I want to yet, but Perpetua, you might want to stop whatever's happening over there.
The younger of the two, who is
Out to growl at them and
kind
see
of
what happens.
stands bolt upright, and you can start to hear the grinding noise that indicates the gates is about to open. But at this point, all of the judges turn and look at the person standing up. She kind of looks left, looks right at you. You can see the whites of her eyes just as she is seemingly overcome with terror. And you know she's going to bolt.
Get to her, Perpetua.
Yep, I'm gonna attempt to jump it.
All right. Give me a strength plus vigor roll.
Strength?
Yes.
Okay.
Surge!
Yeah, surge.
And
Okay.
weird point.
Yeah. So if I spend a weird point, that makes it favorable?
It does.
Okay, great. And if I surge, then I have 5 additional points that I can draw on.
Yes.
If
Okay.
that's what your surge is.
Yeah. So I am going to, let's see, I've got 8. I'm going to put all 5 in here, so that's 13, and I will spend a weird point to make it favorable.
All right.
But it turns out all I needed was 8, but that's okay. So I succeed with an 8.
Okay. So it's going to take you 6 to clear the gap. You
Okay.
leap. You spend it?
Yep.
All right. You leap. As she starts to bolt, Judge's arms are coming up, and you tackle her into the boat. And she sort of wrestles free and pops back up, but as she does, you can see that the light of dawn has kind of split through the open gates, and the judges all put their arms down and start to just ignore everything that is going on as
Creepily
guards start
coast
to
away.
exit back onto the docks. And very soon you see Rothgar and this other guy start walking down the docks towards you. Who are you? What did you do that for? I could have made
Does
it.
it matter? Have you ever tried to deal with the judges before?
The other person who was in the raft, who seems to be about a year or two older, but he seems to have very similar facial features, like share familial traits. Listen, I don't know who you are, but thank you.
They could be siblings.
Yes. She's... Anna, she saved your life. No, she didn't. I knew what I was doing. And she kind of gets up and runs across the docks. Listen, I'm sorry. Thank you. I'm grateful. My sister, she's taken by visions. I have to go after her. Thank you.
Okay. Find me again. My name's Perpetua.
Perpetua, are you... Thank you. And he doesn't even care about his boat. He just goes running into the crowd after his sister. The two of you, Maljek is like, are those two yours?
Are they Voldrak or Kurgan?
They're actually neither. They seem to be Antiochian.
Antiochian.
Hey.
No, I don't know who. I look
What
at
were you asking,
Perpetua.
Hunter?
New friends?
Perpetua, I'm gonna kind of call to you from underneath my tarp and tell you, get a scrap of their clothes or something so I can track them down later.
Okay. So I fish around on the raft to find something
they
that
got
will
the
smell like
blankets that
them.
they were huddled in.
Great. I'm not going to drop those in the water.
Okay.
Now you
All
can get
right.
on the
Seeing
dock
as we're
and
at
walk
almost 8:30, you guys reunite. The Maljek has porters who kind of carry the goods. He introduces himself to Perpetua and Father Bell, and oh my, God's a demon.
We need maybe a transport that we can load our stuff into.
You didn't tell me you had a demon on the raft.
It's not a demon. Her name is Runner. You should see her in battle, man. She tears things apart.
Like a demon.
No,
We need
no,
to
no.
transport our gear.
Well, we can unload stuff from the barge, and she won't scare the bejeebies out of the dockside guards and start a war.
All right. Well, it takes a little bit longer for Maljek to squawk down a palanquin to carry all of the goods and people back and guests of the lady Delendra back up to the tower. But when you all arrive, you notice how quickly it warms up again. And by the time you get to wherever you were going, the air inside the palanquin is a bit stifling, especially with Runner. No offense, you do take up a lot of room, and as you said, you do generate heat. When you get there, you see another one of Maljek's guards, Rothgar. You recognize him as Hrenin. And he comes running up, he's like, Maljek! And he kind of whispers into Maljek's ear, and you all see the blood kind of drain from his face. He's like, we have to hurry. Someone is taking your men. And that's where we'll end for tonight. Thank you guys for playing. I love running this game for you. We will be back on Thursday with more Fading Suns. We'll find out what happened to Dorian and Brother Gabriel. We'll find out what you guys are going to do here in the city. How are you going to interact with this lady who seems to love Rothgar the Scarred? And yes, check us out on YouTube. We're Ulysses International is a YouTube channel. You can find all of the Annals of Antioch. We'll be back with episode 6 on Thursday, as I said. I am JM. These are my players. They are wonderful. Guys, thank you for playing. Check out the Fading Suns Kickstarter, and we'll be back in 2 days for more Annals of Antioch. Have a great week.